wasn't planning on speaking, obviously. My name is CJ Engles. I'm the Justice of the Peace, District 9, so I'm hoping I can answer some of your questions and give you, I actually signed on to this review of the rules, and I'll give you my reasoning for that. I've talked to many of my constituents to give them that reasoning, my viewpoint of what happened, and it's okay. I'm going to go a little bit further back. I don't think this has been talked about yet, but where I remember this process actually starting was in June of 2022. So, well, March of 2022, we had filing for to run for campaign to run for office. That was my first filing situation. I've never ran for public office before. This is my first term, and so in that filing period, we were given, all of the documents that I would have expected would have been given to us to run for Republican Party representative for Justice of the Peace, including the paperwork to write a check, to the party for that filing fee. And so we, in my expectations that everything that was needed from me was handed to me and given back to the committee at that time. And I will say I'm not putting this on any committee executive or executive board. I think realistically this just became a committee issue from several years back that I don't think it got resolved. So anyways, move forward to June of 2022 following the filing period. I remember having a meeting in here, or a monthly regular meeting, where it was asked if people would be interested in joining the district committee. And I know lots of hands went up across the room. At the time, I really don't think I knew anything about what was being asked. I didn't understand district committees, state committees, any of the differences, right? But I do remember sitting next to somebody that said, hey, you're running for office, you should get involved, raise your hand. Okay, so pretty sure I did that. It's been a year ago. But that kind of ended there. And then later on was told, well, if you win your seat, as far as an elected official, you'll have the opportunity to go to district committee meetings, to state committee meetings. Great. Come February of this year, it got brought up at the regular meeting that elected officials did not sign off on joining the district committee or did not provide the appropriate paperwork in writing. And so at that time, kind of thought, well, if there was something that was needed from me, why wasn't I given an email a week before the meeting to provide that interest? I mean, as somebody who's new to the election process and wants to be involved, comes to the monthly Republican meetings, I want to be involved. And so I wasn't given that opportunity to correct an issue or a mistake that whether it was on me or the committee for not providing the paperwork, however that looks at. But I wasn't given that opportunity because in February it was asked I think the first motion that was made was to allow the elected officials to attend district committee. That motion failed. The elected officials, the next motion came to the table to, I believe, elect other people in those spots. If I'm, correct me if I'm wrong. But then that was brought forward and was given an opportunity for people to raise their hands and volunteer. Well, at that point, when they were asking for new people to volunteer to go, the committee has already said, no, the elected official spots were going to fill those. That's what I understood was going on. Whether it was or not, I can't tell you. So, anyways, my point here is I think that the reason I signed on to review the rules is because I felt like, whether it's been going on for years or whether it was just a mistake this go around, as a newly, elected official now, but at the time just somebody who was running in that race, that I didn't get that opportunity to fix a mistake that wasn't provided to me, and that those positions, should have been at least offered to come back. And again, I didn't feel like once the elected officials were said, no, you don't need a spot, like I'm not going to raise my hand again. So
my question is, during filing, when you turned in your papers, and you may not remember this,
right.
But the committee member who took your forms, did you say to them when you were turning in, because this committee has no form, okay?
Sure.
So did you say to that committee member, is this all I need? Am I done? Is this complete? Did you ask them?
All I remember asking is, hey, what do I do now? What do I do now? I've got my paperwork, where do I take it? What do I need to do? At that point, it was, hey, you've got everything you need. Run over to the Vote Here building, submit your paperwork.
So the committee person who took your form said, repeat that one more time, said that you've done everything.
Basically, I asked it, what do I need to do next? Do I need to go over here? If I should say, yep, we're all good, take the paperwork across the road, turn that in, and with they took the check here, turn in the paperwork with the county clerk's office.
So the comment was you've got everything you need?
Well, I'm not going to
Something
quote
to that,
that.
Yeah.
Something to that effect.
More like you're done here, move, head on over to the county clerk's office.
I've got a quick question. So did you see when Matt Bromley and I think there was one other JP?
Kim,
Was it Jim Whitley? When they raised their hand to run with the members of the body?
I did.
Okay,
Yeah.
why didn't you run with them at that time?
Because that was after the fact of a vote. Again, this was my second month as, I'd only had one formal court meeting before that. And then, like I said, at the time, felt like they just voted, said elected officials don't get a spot. We're going to fill those seats otherwise. So I didn't feel like there was a need to raise my hand at the time.
Mind if I ask a few questions?
Go ahead.
So if it's okay with you, I'm just going to try to take it 3 different periods. So the filing period, then the June 2022 meeting, assuming that's what it is, and then the
Right.
February 23. But at the end, and I just want to preview for you, the question I'm going to ask you at the end is, can you tell me what remedy you are seeking as a JP? Because I think we're going to find out that you claim that there is a violation of the rule. So if you go back to the filing period, my understanding of the complaint on the face of it is that somebody should have said, here's a paper form, you need to fill this out if you want to get your predetermined spot on the district committee, right? Yes, sir. And do you understand, from my point of view, having helped write the rule 2 decades ago, do you understand that part of the issue for district committees is that if you give all those slots automatically to JPs and countywide elected officials, and they don't show up and you don't have quorum, you've got a deep problem, especially if you're trying to elect delegates to another entity or commission, right? Okay, so it's a quorum requirement for the district committee that is the concern.
Understood.
Okay, so I'm going to assume that the complaint is that there's a rules violation at the filing period. Good assumption?
Sure.
That's what the complaint's about?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then can you, I don't have a good understanding of, I'm thinking that there's 22 that were filled on that day at the filing period, and then at some other point in time, if you have 44, another 11 were filled, or 12. And then in February of this year, I'm going to assume that we're 10 more. So let's go to June of 2022. What happened, and is there a complaint about the June meeting in 2022?
So